And action. We are no, stop. We are Negros of Thrones. I'm Mick Sykes.
I'm Jib Jack. Brow.
And I'm going to eat this little bumblebee. No, we are coming to you to review episode 2 of House of Dragons. The name of this episode was... What was the name of this episode? I don't remember.
Don't give me the lion.
The Rogue Prince. Yes. Okay. So yeah, this episode starts out on a beach with some knights getting eaten up by crabs, and I'm like, what is this about?
Yeah, that was a lot. Like that. What a way to go, you know? Like getting like, it's not like you're getting chunks, you know what I'm saying, bitten out of you. It's like little tiny bites everywhere.
That's why I'm like not a big fan of like beach nights. You always talking about, let's do a beach night, but for you like pass out drunk and a crab just consume your body. It happens a lot.
Where I talk about having beach nights,
crabs are everywhere. It does. You just have to happen to you. You've been lucky.
Ain't nobody passing out so drunk that nobody is going to be able to watch.
You know how many homeless people get eaten by rock crabs? And
homeless people who have no friends, unfortunately, or are only friends with other homeless people who are going to pass out just as drunk as they are. Not people who are employed and out here living in this fucking bullshit that have to wake up the next day.
I'm sure it happens.
If one person at the beach night passes out drunk, nobody's going to just let them get eaten by crabs. Like, that's fucking ridiculous.
People have let me get eaten by crabs before.
I wonder why.
Anyway, this episode went by pretty quickly. It was, I don't want to say uneventful. I feel like, it connected what's probably gonna come in the story so far. Like, so as we predicted, now they're trying to, get the king to choose a wife. Like, this is 6 months after Amelia died. Queen Amelia. Queen Emma died, and now they're like, all right, it's been long enough. You gotta, get some heirs pumping. Like, you only got one, and that's kind of dangerous. And of course, in the meantime, Damon's in Dragonstone, surrounded by like an army of gold capes. It has basically been held up there since the king sent him away.
Yep, Dragonstone belongs to Rhaenyra. But he pretty much just like went up in there, sat the dragon seat, and called it a day. He sends this letter out talking about he finna get married to the prostitute that he's been fucking. Lady
Masaria, Malaysia. I don't remember her name.
And yeah, they're like, what the fuck is he doing? The king is of course gonna thinks about going there himself. Otto is like, no, it's dangerous. Don't you dare do it.
Word.
And they go without the king. Am I skipping things?
No, well, keep going. If you remember anything, we can always, go back.
They go without the king. Of course, it's, it automatically turns into a pissing race.
Oh, you skipped way ahead to the end. Is that what you're talking about? Like at the end, like, oh yeah, no, like,
no, I'm at them meeting.
Damon and Dragonstone. That's the end of the episode. We still have the queen, the king, Valerian, Corlys, I'll get these names together, I swear. Talking, like offering his daughter as a potential wife for the king.
Right.
And they meet. They pass the idea around, and the king meets her, and they have like a conversation in the garden. And she's like 12.
Right. Looking 7.
And was just like, yeah, it'd be an honor to serve the realm. It's like, all right, that's what your father told you to say.
She was like, I'll bear you as many heirs as I was like, oh God. Looking at this little girl talk about the heirs she'll bear is just like, oh my gosh.
Mother says I won't have to bed you until I'm 14. And I'm like, you really about to lay down with this gross white man who's your cousin.
Mm-hmm. And if she didn't say that, if she didn't say literally that, she probably would have still got, like, I think that, like, turned him off so much. It's like, not that you expect this 12-year-old to, like, want to bed you, but, like, if they are already kind of planning on not, you know what I'm saying, and being like, oh, like, I don't have to until for the next 2 years as like a caveat they could get behind. Like, you don't want that in your marriage, let alone like to traumatize some little girl in that way. Like, it's too much.
And after being married to the love of your life, who would want to be in a loveless marriage?
Right.
Because like she might grow to love him, but she's also like younger than your daughter,
right? And
is like very like, you know, not going to be able to bear your heirs for like some amount of time.
Right.
I get why he's like, I'm not willing to be in a loveless marriage.
Right.
So, it's kind of a dub for that, but we'll get to that. So now, I guess we can talk about the standoff at Dragonstone.
Yeah. I think also he's like trying his best to not deal in people who have obvious designs for the crown, you know. It's like, oh, like it's obvious, like he can't like see Otto's designs for the crown, it seems.
Yeah, because he thinks, well, at least right now it's being presented like that Allison is being very genuine,
yeah,
and wants to like, you know, spend time with him and comfort him and blah blah blah,
right?
Which is like also naive, like as a monarch, to think that like everyone around you doesn't have designs for the crown, or at least to get as close to it as they possibly can.
Right, you should be kind of assuming that everybody wants your seat, you know. But yeah, Allison visits him often. It seems the relationship still seems rather innocent. He asks if she ever talks about their talks with Rhaenyra, and she's like, nah. He's like, okay, good, like, because I don't think she'll understand. And in that moment, I'm like, oop, it's about to go down. I don't know if y'all remember my projections from last week, but in that moment, I was like, and the grooming begins, because like you want us to have these secret conversations. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're like specifically asking me that I not say anything to my best friend who happens to be your daughter, who could like hold you accountable for some shit. You know what I'm saying? To some degree.
And Rhaenyra has no idea that these conversations are even happening.
Right.
So like that's another thing, and I'm just like, why wouldn't either of you tell her what's up? Like, oh, even have them. It's like, oh, Allison's been visiting me.
Right.
You know, like that. Why would, like, if it's all above board, why wouldn't you mention it?
Right.
Either of you.
But Allison is good because she essentially does what he wants to do and gets her to like be more open to talk to him, because she meets him. She meets him down at the set.
Or the beast yawning. It's so cute.
To pray. To the gods or whatever have you, and like, you know, talk to the ancestors or whatever have you. And I
come and sit here and talk to my mother, bitch.
Right. So she had her go down there with her. And they, you know, had a little moment, and she was like, I know that my father doesn't speak girl either, so like if I want to have a conversation with this nigga, I gotta be the one to start it, bitch. So like
that would have been the perfect time to mention, oh yeah, and you know, knocking your daddy back. girl. But I might be your mama in a couple of weeks.
I don't think she's knocking it back yet, but
mm, mm. Time will tell.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be torrid yet. Like there doesn't seem to be any like sexual tension. There's a little bit of romance and like, you know, feelings or whatever have you in the air. But you know, when somebody's genuinely nice to you, it's like that's hard to like it doesn't happen often. So people get all addicted to that feeling and then start.
I call episodes like this like bridging episodes. They are obviously setting up like the storylines and the framework for the rest of the season. So they have, like you were saying before, they have that standoff at Dragonstone, and the King's Guard, which is led by Otto, are standing there against Damon and the Gold Coats, and he has his mistress there with him for some reason, and I'm like, why is this bitch why is this bitch here?
Because he's trying to set her up as a queen. He's trying to give her like.
But to have her killed, if they would have started literally fighting right there, you just set her up to be like the first one stabbed. Like she's not a warrior,
right?
So that was a little weird to me. And then they come there, and he pulls out the dragon. And they're like, oh no.
Right. Of course, they're like, what the fuck? Like, are we going to do this? Nothing we can do up against a dragon.
Like, they was popping shit back and forth. Like, oh, remember when I knocked you? Like, Chorus was like, oh, remember when I knocked you off your horse?
That wasn't Chorus. That was Kristen Cole. Sir Kristen Cole.
I don't think it's Kristen. It's like, I think it's like Cord. It's Cord. No, like Valerian Cord. Like, I know that. But
but the knight's name is Kristen. Literally, Damon had said, Sir Crispin, is it? And he goes, no, Kristen, Sir Kristen Cole. And he goes, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't remember. And then he says, sure you remember when I unhorsed you.
Okay.
I remember it being Kristen Cole also because of the meeting that Rhaenyra had where she was being presented with the Tourney Knights essentially to be a part of the Royal Guard, and Kristen Cole was the only one that had any battle experience.
Yeah, Rhaenyra was now. She's like, get these niggas out of my face. Like, what are they gonna do?
Right.
And then he was like, oh, but the politics of the da-da-da-da. Like, politics, these are bodyguards.
Right.
I want somebody who can fight.
Even though what they had to say wasn't completely wasn't off base, in that like you do have to think about the family that this knight comes from and what like the crown means to that family. Because like Tristan might have the skill to be able to, you know, as a person who's seen battle, but he might not have the actual heart to fucking give a fuck about the royal family, depending on how his family and the royal family's dealings have been over the, you know, generations.
True that.
Playing from laptop pay 7JBTS 7B.
Wow.
Technology. Anyway, so Damon pulls out his dragon. They're kind of shocked and caught off guard, and now they're like, oh shit, well, we've probably gone through the heads. We've come here for nothing because, like, he's got a dragon, and we've got some niggas with some swords. Luckily, swoops down Rhaenyra on Cyrax, and it's like, yeah, you need to chill.
Right.
You need to chill the fuck out.
So what are you doing? This is literally my home. He's like, well, not until you come of age. And it's like, okay. And she's eventually just like, all right, nigga, like, give me this motherfucking egg, because he's got this dragon egg. And then he says, which I guess is a legitimate thing if you're really going to have an heir or a kid or whatever. But he was like, you were allowed to sleep near, you know, a dragon as you were born, da 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 da, your cradle. I want the same for mine. And she's like, well, nigga, when is that? Like, what?
like you telling me she's pregnant right now when your actual wife is not pregnant, and then he had to give up. The jig was basically up.
Right.
It's like, this bitch isn't pregnant. And she knew, she saw right through him.
Yeah.
She was like, and then she was also like, I'm the one that replaced you as heir. The
Right.
person you want to kill is me, so do it.
She's like, I'm the object of your ire. She's like, so make it pop right now.
And she knows, like, I know you love me, so you're not going to do anything. You're not going to do anything. He throws her the egg, which is like, I don't know if you could, like, a dragon egg could crack just from being thrown, but I was like, come on.
He, like, tries to fake her out. He, like, walks away and then turns around and tosses it to her. And I'm like, she really could have dropped that shit. Like, he threw it mad hard. It was like a medicine ball, like, flying through the fucking air. It's ridiculous.
And then, like, what, you really wilding for respect? Because, like, your own wife doesn't have a child yet. Like, what are you doing? So what, you don't like her?
Right. So you might have not married her by choice, but you want all the things that are due a king. Like, you gotta do the things that are due a prince.
I also feel like this is setting the stage to soften the blow of him possibly wedding Rhaenyra. Like, okay, like, y'all got all your titties in a twist when I was trying to marry my sex worker boo. But, like, this is my niece. Like, it's better, right? And that kind of softens that. It will probably soften that in future episodes. If and when that happens. But, we get back to King's Landing. And there's a High Council meeting. And I forgot. Oh, yeah, they were talking about what went down at Dragonstone. Like, he's pissed that the king is pissed that Rhaenyra was even there. Like, why did you go? Like, I've squashed the whole thing without any bloodshed.
Right, is what she said.
And he's like, ugh, okay, I get it, but you're my only heir. Like, you could have been killed.
Right.
And then we would have been screwed.
And explains to her in that moment why he needs to, like, pick a new wife. Mind you, earlier in the episode, while he's talking to the little girl, Rhaenyra and Rhaenys are, like, kind of, like, looking on from, like, this, like, tower balcony-ish kind of thing. And Rhaenys asks Rhaenyra if she had a problem with it. She was like, bitch, this bother you or not? And then she was like, the king needs to fucking get a new wife. And she was like, I didn't ask you to explain politics to me. I asked you if you was bothered, ho.
And she was like, Auntie, are you bothered?
She was like, bitch, this is your daughter. It's like, this is your daughter marrying a man that could be her grandfather. Are you bothered, bitch?
And she was like, yeah.
She was like, of course I'm bothered. The fuck? She was
bothered.
like, except I just know how the shit works. You sitting here looking all do-eyed and fucking like, there's a problem. You'll never see the problem on my face, bitch, because I know how it works. And then they get into this conversation about patriarchy where it's like, okay, Rhaenys is like, they'll never choose a queen, and she's like they had the opportunity to choose a queen and they didn't. And it was like, and Rhaenyra's like, oh, they did not choose a queen, they did not choose you, bitch. She's like, you can feel that way all you want, but like, trust me, she said they will see this motherfucker burn down before they let a fucking queen rule.
And I feel like she's right.
I mean,
look what happened to Daenerys. Look what happened to Daenerys. That's all I got to say. But at the end of the episode, the Viserys declares that he has chosen Alicent Hightower to be his wife.
At the face crack of Corlys.
At the face crack of his own daughter.
Everybody's
jaw drizz up except for Otto, who was like, yes, bitch.
Right, secretly just like fucking fist pumping.
It was your mother's dress. I knew it. I love that dress. I love it. And I'm like, oh wait, she had no clue. Blindsided. Corlys is already also making deals with the devil, which is Daemon. Mm-hmm. Like, he's gotten in his ear and is just like, yo, I control the seas.
Well, that happened after that announcement.
Yeah.
Talking about
you're the rightful heir.
Talking about they both the same, like,
you second sons.
Right.
We gotta like make our own way. Because basically he's been having a problem with like pirates coming to Drift Mart and like messing up his shit and then leaving what's the crab eater.
Right.
Like leaving his soldiers to get eaten by crabs on the beach. So he was like, he came there, King's Landing, looking for help in the first place, and
Right.
he was like, well, I have a daughter. Like we can just join our houses, which would have made sense in some respect. But I also realized, I said to you when we watched the episode, like the king's pretty old.
Right.
His daughter is 12. It's another 3 years until she comes of age, maybe even longer until she can carry a child. Like when you got Allison, who's primed and ready right there.
Right. I mean, no tea, no shade. I mean, and I don't say this to be gross. I just say this to be real. Because, I have cousins who, and like, women who started their periods at 9 and shit. The likelihood that she is of childbearing age is high already. Like the girl being childbearing age. But, she's not fuckable until she's 14.
Oh no, but even still, like when you get your period that young, it's not consistent. Like if you start your period at 8, 9 years old, it's sporadic at best and probably doesn't become regular. And if at all, because some women never becomes regular, but if like when it does, it's not until like you're a teenager. Like getting like women who do get pregnant at like
12.
Younger, like 10, 12, like it's actually very rare. And be able to hold a child to term. It's rare.
I don't know. There's enough parents who are 13 years old.
Well, rare in the sense that like there's 7 billion people on the planet.
Right. But not rare enough to act as though that her being 14 wouldn't mean that they wouldn't try, or her being 14 it's suddenly adding years to the idea that they're gonna like at least try to like make her have this baby. The issue of how long it will take is the fact that she is not of age, right? Yeah. To lay with. If she was, then they would get started right the fuck now, and it wouldn't be an issue. Allison didn't look like she was ready for that announcement herself. Like she looked like she wanted it to some degree, knew that like it would make sense for them as they're developing this like relationship.
Yeah.
But like was also like her face wasn't cracked, but there was a little line there, a little fissure line.
Like, I didn't realize I was this far in the running.
Right. She thought she was gonna have to pop some actual box first.
And she didn't. Look at that girl. Look at that. It's about to be a mess because this has started mad drama, and this is now when the real Game of Thrones begins.
Right.
So I'm excited to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, because this episode was like you said, it was a bridge kind of like episode in that like so much happened, but like none of its impact has even landed yet. So it's like all these little like events that are indeed big, like you almost next day, you 6 months later making niggas come to your fucking place, which is not even your place. You stole this place to come get an egg that is not yours, that you already know how important it is. Like that's like some big shit, but that it's foreshadowing something like way huger. So like I feel like this episode went like, I don't know, like it went by. It went by really fast. I had to watch it a second time because I thought I missed something. That's how like unimpactful it was onto me and how it felt so uneventful. But there was bad shit that went down.
Mm-hmm.
It just didn't feel like anything. It was like, all right, like what's gonna happen next? You want me to be ready for what's next already, so just give me the what's next. Is how I felt.
And I feel like we could close on that. We've been Negros of Thrones. Make sure you check us out on Patreon at patreon.com/AnuKaiTree where you can get exclusive bonus content. And make sure you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I'm not forgetting anything. Follow us on all that. And you can also follow our podcast available on Spotify or wherever podcasts are streaming. And we'll be back to you in human form probably around episode 4, I want to say.
I think I'm going to stay a B.
You going to say you have you transformed forever?
This B is swaggy. You know what I'm saying? Like this must be, but what it feels like to be light skinned. You know what I mean? This how y'all be looking.
Stop winking at me, first of all. Secondly, as a
What's
light skinned
good?
person, I find that highly, highly offensive.
What's good? Because it's true. What's good?
Anyway, we'll see y'all next week. Same Game of Thrones time, same House of Dragons channel.